Best friends PJ and Josie, existing on the fringes of high school society, start a high school fight club to meet girls and lose their virginity. Bottoms, directed by Emma Seligman, attempts to deliver audiences surreal female comedy cringe, but like Spinal Tap, cranked to 11. Received well by most critics, Bottoms seems to have captured an audience that resonates with this type of comedy. Exploring queer sexuality and female empowerment has been a running theme in many DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusivity, driven and/or focused movies. With a runtime of 91 minutes, we see if Bottoms indeed hits the mark and ends up on top. But before we get into the review, if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, hitting the notification bell will alert you when we drop new content. Now, let's get critical. The movie opens with friends PJ, played by Rachel Sennott, and Josie, played by Ayo Edebiri, two unpopular lesbian classmates at Rockbridge Falls High School who never had sex, attending a fair before the start of the new school year. At the fair, the two attempt to flirt with their respective crushes, cheerleaders Brittany and Isabel. As they're about to leave the fair, PJ and Josie witness Isabel getting into an argument with her boyfriend Jeff, which leads to a confrontation where Josie, in an effort to leave, bumps into Jeff, prompting him to feign an injury. At the start of the school semester, rumors spread that PJ and Josie were sent to juvie over the summer for their altercation with Jeff. When the principal threatens the two girls with expulsion, Josie lies and declares that they were simply practicing for a feminist self-defense club. Having told a convincing lie, PJ and Josie, with the help of their friend Hazel, also a lesbian, decide to actually set up a club, but with the ultimate goal of luring Isabel and Brittany in and lose their virginities. In order to legitimize their club, PJ and Josie convince a disinterested and laissez-faire Mr. G, played by Marshawn Lynch, to be their sponsor and advisor, assuming he won't show up to their meetings. After witnessing their first meeting and the violence involved, Mr. G attempts to shut down the club, but PJ and Josie convince him it's about female empowerment, and he changes his mind, growing more interested in feminism as a result. The club starts off shaky and unorganized, with the attendees, all girls, assuming PJ and Josie have experience in self-defense after spending time in juvie. However, the club grows closer over time as the girls gain respect and notoriety throughout the school. Jeff's friend Tim suspects that Josie and PJ never went to juvie, and through his investigation, finds out that the correctional facility has no record of them having gone. Hazel finds out her mother is having an affair with Jeff and tells Josie, who informs Isabel, leading to her breakup with Jeff and planning revenge. The girls egg and TP his house, but Hazel takes it a step further by blowing up Jeff's car. Tim suspects the girls' club was behind the bombing and decides to tell Principal Myers, ending the club. Faced with the club's disbandment, PJ and Josie have a falling out, with PJ humiliating Hazel for being a loner. Later, Isabel is invited by Josie to hang out, which subsequently leads to them having sex. PJ attempts to move on Brittany but is rebuffed and informed that she's straight. At the pep rally before the football game against rival Huntington High School, Tim challenges Hazel to fight their top boxer on behalf of the club. Though Hazel puts up a valiant effort, she ultimately loses and sustains severe injuries. Tim exposes the truth about PJ and Josie's fight club and fabricated juvie history, causing a rift between them. Josie seeks guidance from her childhood babysitter Rhodes, who reveals Huntington's sinister plan to kill a Rockbridge football player. Determined to thwart the scheme, Josie and PJ reconcile with their friends and uncover the deadly plot involving pineapple juice in the sprinkler system. In a desperate bid to save Jeff, the girls engage in a violent confrontation with the rival school's football players, using everything they've learned in their self-defense club. Josie rescues Jeff, but rejects his advances, and the girls emerge victorious. Tim discovers the murder plot and praises the club for saving Jeff. Josie and Isabel share a kiss as the chaos resides, culminating in a dramatic explosion. Directed by Emma Seligman, best known for her 2020 directorial debut, Shiva Baby, Bottoms is a satirical teen comedy film that seems to have found a niche within certain communities. In today's age, many marginalized communities champion films that aspire to give representation to underrepresented identities, such as Euphoria or Love, Simon. The audience score on Rotten Tomatoes shows 89% of verified viewers giving Bottoms a positive rating. The directing of the film is relatively straightforward. Viewers shouldn't expect avant-garde or overly stylized cinematography. However, the movie includes subtle comedic tropes or jokes, such as the random caged football player in the background of several shots or the constant presence of football players in their uniforms and pads. This film doesn't demand much from Seligman, offering little in the way of nuances or added tomfoolery for teen comedies. The writing is serviceable, not giving any of the characters any meaningful character arcs. The empowerment they all see comes from the solidarity they feel as a unit, and this solidifies only after the fight of the rival football team. None of the individual members of the club are shown growing individually in any meaningful way prior to the fight. The character with the most notable development is Isabel, as she finds some confidence and inner strength to end a toxic relationship and put her happiness first. However, even this is overshadowed by the unevenness of the characters and the focus of the movie. She's manipulated throughout the entire movie by outside factors. PJ and Josie lie to her, then tell her about Jeff, and finally, she's taken advantage of right after going through a bad breakup. Josie is portrayed as the better option for Isabel because she listens and appears to respect their relationship, which are the basic necessities of any standard relationship, regardless of the fact that both Jeff and Josie manipulated and objectified Isabel. The movie relies on its satirical nature and horny teens humor to carry itself through to the end. The film struggles to differentiate what is funny and what's serious, as most serious tones or beats are either preceded or followed by a joke or quippy satire.
Made me do this. I didn't want to. I would never want to do this. You're pathetic, Josie.
Here's a great time to just take a beat and let the gravity of the moment sink in, but the film rolls right into Mr. G quipping for 5 minutes, which kills the seriousness of what just happened.
Amazing ally. Is this about the time I said Amelia Earhart was a fake hero? Because it's true. Many a guys fly planes without crashing, but you never hear about them. And then it's like, oh, it's so hard to be a girl. We make less money. We have to lose our last names. I love you. I want to be with you for the rest of our lives.
The film does a decent job of shedding light on the difficulties of self-image and the idolization of others, such as PJ's fantasy over Brittany, but fails to reconcile PJ and Josie's fallout by not having them take accountability for any of their actions. There are no consequences for what they did, but hey, girl power saves the day. This film seemed like it could have been condensed into a 30-minute episode, but instead stretched out to an hour and a half. The absurd fight at the end was meant for comedic effect, yet it also conveyed the message that women can be protectors and defenders, showing their power when united. It's not that I failed to grasp the jokes, I simply didn't find them funny. The inclusion of locker room talk among the main characters felt out of context, as if they had directly swapped male characters for female ones in a raunchy teen comedy. My wife, a strong advocate for women's empowerment, found the movie awful and poorly written, particularly in terms of character development. However, if the movie intended to shed light on the tropes of masculine manipulation and objectivity present in Josie and PJ, where they fail to take responsibility for their actions yet are rewarded in the end of films with somewhat hollow apologies and inconsequential gestures, then that message was lost. It doesn't align with the narrative or its overly satirical approach. Another perspective could be that women also engage in manipulation and objectification, but because they possess empathy, vulnerability, and are attractive when demonstrating confidence, initiative, and positivity, they are perceived as more agreeable partners. However, this interpretation still doesn't fit within the narrative. While Josie may exhibit all these qualities, if both she and Isabel truly evolved, Isabel needing time to heal and Josie allowing her space and requiring time to develop her confidence, they still wouldn't end up together in the end. As a heterosexual millennial male, I doubt that I was the intended audience for this film, so consider my rating with caution. If you're a fan of movies like Mean Girls or Superbad, or shows like Euphoria, you might find enjoyment in this film. However, personally, it didn't resonate with me. With that being said, I would give Bottoms a rating of 1 out of 5 stars.